yeah, I did change, and I'm really glad I changed.
This one's wife. Could she have been this? Hello, I'm HG Tudor. I commonly come across people commenting about this situation. In essence, they look at this one's wife and think to themselves, she had the world at her feet. There she was, a mediocre actress who few people had heard of, earning an okay living, but facing an uncertain future as she was being written out of Suits. She then managed, by the ensnarement of Prince Harry, to catapult herself onto an international stage. She became world famous, had access to wealth, had access to privilege, had a support network put in place for her. She had a role whereby she could have cultivated considerable goodwill, acting as a patron of various high-profile charities, attending prestigious events. She had the world at her feet. Why, oh why, did she fuck it up? By way of comparison, an individual by the name of Media Lush has posted on the thread Saint This One's Wife, they use a proper name, as you know I do not, basically suggesting that if this one's wife had played the game like a decent person, she could have had it all, and provides Lady Frederick Windsor as a comparison to demonstrate how somebody can marry into the royal family and get it right. There is an Hello article about Lady Frederick Windsor, who is actually otherwise known as the actress Sophie Winkleman. So here you have an actress who was married into the royal family, admittedly not as high profile as Prince Harry, but the fact is that with Freddie Windsor, she was still marrying into the royal family. Let's just take a moment to learn a bit more about Sophie Winkleman through what the article tells us. She meets in a London studio for an exclusive interview and photo shoot, and she's actually taking a day off from her latest filming project. She's also there to talk about her work with Social Enterprise, the Big Issue group, for which she has been an ambassador since 2020. Earlier this year, she joined vendors, selling copies of the Big Issue magazine, just as the Prince of Wales has done. I talk to every homeless person I pass, she says. I find it sad when people simply walk past them. It doesn't matter if you don't have any cash to spare, just communicate so they don't feel invisible, even just a supportive smile. I remember selling with some vendors on a bitterly cold and wet Monday in January, trying to earn their way out of poverty in the freezing weather and feeling overwhelmed with admiration. There is a scene in Frances Hodgson Burnett's A Little Princess when Sarah tells Becky, the scullery maid, "It's just an accident that I am not you and you are not me." It's always stayed with me. Homeless people are exactly the same as you and me, except something awful has happened to them. Also, the vast majority had a chaotic, frightening childhood. It's a view Sophie shares with Prince William, who has made it his mission to eradicate homelessness in the United Kingdom. It also backs the Princess of Wales' assertion that many of today's social problems stem from difficult childhoods. She's right about early years being key, says Sophie, who has daughters Maud, 11, and Isabella, 8, with her husband, Lord Frederick, the son of Prince and Princess Michael of Kent. Sophie, 44, is full of admiration for Catherine, who recently finished a course of preventative chemotherapy. She's wonderful, she says. I last saw her at Wimbledon. It was so cheering to see her. Beautiful as ever. She's been amazingly brave and is doing so well. She's equally fond of the king. Duty and service run through him like a stick of rock. It doesn't just occur to him to rest, something that those who love him are desperate for him to do. He's battling cancer and doesn't give himself a moment off. He's a hugely inspirational man. When asked who she's closest to, she replies, I count pretty much every one of them as a trusted friend. I'm very lucky. No doubt, Sophie's insight into high society has helped her in her recent roles, such as playing the Duchess of Rochester in Belgravia, the next chapter, and Lady Susan in Sanditon. But she is perhaps best recognised for her recurring role between 2005 and 2010 as Big Suze in Channel 4 comedy Peep Show. Actors usually loathe being pigeonholed, but Peep Show gives people such joy. I don't mind at all, she says. In fact, the series was responsible for bringing her and her banker husband together on New Year's Day 2007. The couple then married at Hampton Court Palace in September 2009, but Sophie says their 15th wedding anniversary was uneventful. We didn't do anything. We're so boring, she says. I often have 5 a.m. start times and Freddie works very hard, so we're far too knackered. We also have quite a lot of dinners for charities, or his work, or just staying in and watching a film is heaven. Freddie is wonderful with the girls, and more hands-on than I am, she adds. He reads to them, teaches them history, the countries, rivers and mountains on a map. I just tell them I'm tired. Being a mother in the digital age, Sophie's all too aware of the dangers of social media, about another topic about which she's fiercely passionate. She doesn't have any social media accounts and won't allow her daughters to either. Platforms like Instagram make young girls hate themselves. And apps like TikTok and Snapchat totally destroy the concentration span. Change has to be government-led because millions of British children are on their devices all night long. Then they go into school shattered and angry and they don't learn anything. Sophie's current screen role is in a BBC drama that she's filming until the new year. It's fabulously written and I'm thrilled to be part of it, but I'm not allowed to discuss it yet. I'm so sorry, she says. Meanwhile, Sophie will be supporting Big Issue's new big community initiative. I'm so proud to be an ambassador for this awe-inspiring organisation, she says. It's a British triumph we should all take pride in and actively support. So, a snippet there in relation to Sophie Winkleman, who has become Lady Frederick Windsor and is married into the royal family. But look at what she does. She has a family, she has charitable involvement, and she continues with her career as an actress. She also comes across very well in interview, not spouting word salad, coming across as a genuine and caring individual. Could this be what this one's wife might have been if she had played a more appropriate approach? If she played the game like a decent person, as suggested by Media Lush, could this be exactly who this one's wife could have been? Somebody that is down to earth, involved in charity, liked by people, liked within the royal family. Could this one's wife have achieved that? Well, the simple fact is, no, she could not. The reason being is that Sophie Winkleman isn't a narcissist, and this one's wife is. The fact is that for this one's wife, her narcissism propelled her into ensnaring Prince Harry and got her into that position, which was an enviable one for many. But as I have told you on many occasions, it's been incapable of keeping her there. It's been incapable of keeping her there because it hasn't evolved to a sufficient degree to enable her to maintain a facade, to enable her to consider the consequences of her actions, unlike a more evolved and sophisticated narcissist. Simply put, she could not play the game like a decent person because she cannot be a decent person. She cannot even properly emulate one like some narcissists do, because as a mid-range narcissist, she can only go so far in that direction before the needs of her narcissism prevail and she lashes out at people. She bullies them. She devalues them. She gives them the death stare. She becomes self-centered. The fact is, whilst many people might think, oh, look, you were in a similar position to that of Lady Frederick Windsor. If you'd have followed the same route as her, look where you could have been. Admired, liked, even adored by people. But you didn't. Why did you choose the path that you did? Well, in actual fact, this one's wife didn't choose that path. Her narcissism caused her to move along that route, and it was always going to be the case. There might be other narcissists much more sophisticated that could have married into the royal family, and they would have bolted it onto them and utilised it to their advantage without fucking it up in the way that she does. But she was incapable of doing that. This one's wife messed it up because her brand of narcissism caused her to do that. It caused her to behave in a particular way whereby her superficiality came to the fore. That the fact that she is such an attention whore means that her pursuit of fuel causes her to find the camera lens, to elbow people out of the way, to talk over them, to snatch bouquets, etc. And the facade isn't up to the job of keeping all of that under wraps. Her narcissism caused her to cut off her family in such a way that this has repeatedly drawn criticism. It has caused her to deal with the children in a particular way, which has resulted in scrutiny and cynicism. It has caused her to dump friends, disengaging from them, which has resulted in them speaking out about her. It has caused her to be seen as a toxic person so that brands don't want anything to do with her. And thus, there was never, ever the opportunity that she could play the game like a decent person. She could only do what she could do as a narcissist of the mid-range variety, which has meant that she has messed it up. That her narcissism regularly ensures that she gets the control, that it draws the fuel, that she utilises the character traits, and she gets the residual benefits. It always succeeds in that regard. But what it then does is it creates more threats to control. It results in the threats to the residual benefits, because its pursuit of those four things results in her becoming unpopular. The facade can't cope with the pressure that it's put under by her repeated and sustained need for exposure. That the fact that she lacks the ability, the charisma, and the intelligence to assert control in a particular way, which means that she resorts to unsophisticated methods such as bullying people, which eventually becomes highlighted and disseminated at large, which results in a further threat to her control and a further reduction in her popularity. Lady Frederick Windsor provides an interesting comparison, given that there are similarities between the two women, both actresses, both married into the British royal family, both have charitable interests. Whereas one has harnessed all of this and has done so in a productive fashion, the other, of course, has simply been unable to do so, because whilst her narcissism got her into the position that has proven so useful to her, it has struggled to keep her there. I'm hg Tudor. Thank you for listening.